Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 154 based on novel. So let's start. The path to becoming undying is filled with danger. I wish you all to walk this path and become undyings. Finishing the final training segment page, Luo Feng was silent for a while. There's a saying on Earth. A flower may seem beautiful in a greenhouse, but it can never withstand wind and rain. Luo Feng said softly. It's delicate and fragile. Right? The little demon exclaimed. It takes 100 years to be tempered into iron. The people of Earth are able to withstand certain diseases, because of vaccines. They all share the same theory, Luo Feng. Just like that example, you shouldn't be too ambitious in the beginning. Start from the lower difficulty ones, and try them out before gradually rising up. There is no rush. I currently don't even wish to take any missions yet. Luo Feng said. My study from Primal Chaos City, I still require some time to digest all that information. And my body requires the nutrition cabin as well. The demon Barbata smiled and nodded. Back when he chose Luo Feng to inherit the Yunmo planet legacy, never would he expect him to come to this point in life, where before he would be worried about his identity as the disciple of the Yunmo planet being revealed, attracting many sector lords and others. However, with his status now, even normal undyings wouldn't dare mess with him. Even the Emperor of the Black Dragon Mountain had to be respectful. When Luo Feng enters the Primal Secret region, his guards would be led by an undying. When that happened, even the god leader of the Black Dragon Mountain sacred land would have to be extremely respectful with Luo Feng. Background management. Luo Feng gently tapped and later closed the document. Life, study, and training, the virtual universe company provided the best of everything. Dying halfway. Stuck at the pinnacle of sector lord with the lifespan ending. Becoming undying. That all depended on one's hard work. I currently have 30,360 points. Luo Feng opened the treasure trove document. As he looked at the materials, valuable treasures, manuals, weapons and variety of items that were available, his heart suddenly skipped a beat. Right? This treasure trove had almost everything. As for his most treasured possession, the F-grade Yunmo planet ship, which couldn't be used at all, even repairing it was difficult. At least in the Black Dragon Mountain star field it was impossible. The Ganwu universe country may have barely been able to scrape together enough to fix it, but the treasure trove here would most definitely have what was needed to fix it. Barbata, take a look at this treasure trove. Will we be able to fix the Yunmo planet ship with the available items? Luo Feng asked. Yes. The demon Barbata was an AI after all. It was able to collect the information about all the necessary materials in an instant. Luo Feng was surprised. The Yunmo planet ship was a ship that even an undying could barely break. An undying's battle would leave nothing but just a fist imprint within. And the reason behind his teacher, Hu Yangbo's death in the past was due to his opponent using a spirit attack. With this ship, Luo Feng would truly be intrepid. Spirit attack. He could hide his two other bodies into his internal world and use the Mosha clan. As it didn't have a soul, it wasn't afraid of a spirit attack at all. The important materials can be exchanged through the treasure trove. Barbata said. Also, you can also hire the technological department of the virtual universe company to repair it through the life segment. As long as you provide the materials, these members will repair it. How many points does it require? Luo Feng asked. About 560,000 points. Barbata said. 560,000. Luo Feng stared wide-eyed. That's not considered much. Barbata said. If we use real cash in the actual universe, it would require about 80,000 mixed elements. Luo Feng was stunned. The buying power of the points was indeed absurd. Barbata, if we were to build a new Yunmo planet ship, how much would we need? Luo Feng asked. About 3.6 million mixed elements. Barbata said. Damn. Luo Feng couldn't help but curse. Even buying and selling the entire Black Dragon Mountain starfield wouldn't cost this much, right? A normal galaxy's worth isn't that much. However, to sell an entire Black Dragon Mountain starfield, the price would jump much higher, about 300,000 to 1 million mixed elements. The main thing is that it will depend on the situation. Auctions usually have highs and lows. Barbata said. Black Dragon Mountain starfield, even selling it entirely didn't compare to one Yunmo planet ship. This is very normal, Barbata said with disdain. The Black Dragon Mountain starfield is the property of that undying of the sacred land Black Dragon Mountain. And that undying, his power doesn't even compare to your teacher. In order to build this ship, your teacher back then spent an enormous amount. The Yunmo planet ship being more expensive than a normal starfield is normal. And it's extremely durable too, since it is able to block any physical attacks. Plus, your teacher focused on the spirit offense and defense. Hence with that ship, it was extremely safe. He still died in the end. Luo Feng shook his head. His enemy was an emperor-level undying, and he focused on spirit attacks too. Barbata said. If he was a fighter, he wouldn't have been able to kill your teacher at all. Black Dragon Mountain Starfield is after all just a territory. However, one Yunmo planet ship is a ship that protects your life. Which is more important? One look and you should know, Barbata said. Whether it was 560,000 points, or 80,000 mixed elements. They were both far from Luo Feng's reach, his meager points were nowhere near it. Deep in the universe, absolute beginning region core. Orbiting around this huge ice planet were many star fragments. On fragment number 803898081, a universe ship landed on the continent. Your Majesty Luo Feng, the nutrition cabin stores within it valuable nutritious liquid. You only require 1/3 of it to raise from universe level 1 to 9. A jade-haired man dressed in a white robe said respectfully. Just in case, we've prepared more than required. Luo Feng nodded satisfied. This nutrition cabin was very similar to the one he had bought. However, this one was definitely better, and it couldn't be bought outside. Even if one could, Luo Feng would most definitely be unable to afford it. The nutrition cabin opened automatically. Inside it, about 1/5 of it was filled with a light purple liquid. This formless liquid was extremely cold, this made Luo Feng frown. He extended his hand close to the liquid, slightly touching it, Kai. The cold shocked Luo Feng. It was at least -10 degrees. While touching the liquid with his fingers, he noticed that the cells in his fingers seemed to jump with glee. Such a cold nutrition liquid. However, the effects are shocking, Luo Feng thought. With that he stripped and entered the cabin, immersing himself in that cold purple liquid. The strange entity began to flow and entered through Luo Feng's body, through his muscles, bones, skin, internal organs. His entire body from outside to inside began to evolve at a shocking rate. Normal evolution from universe level 1 to 9 required hundreds to thousands of years. However, the virtual universe company paid a hefty price to allow one's evolution to happen within a few short months. As for the chillness of the nutrition liquid, universe-level warriors weren't affected by such temperatures. The cabin closed. Virtual universe, absolute beginning Villa 1136. It's really not the same. It not only permeates through my entire body, even my spirit energy is growing. This is unbelievable. Luo Feng sat at his desk, opening his laptop and exclaiming. To be able to evolve my body and soul from level 1 to 9, impressive. On the screen, Luo Feng looked at the timetable for classes. I don't need to listen to the other classes. I'll just go and check out the classes for space and gold. Luo Feng didn't want to study any other laws. One's attention and energy had a limit, and his two bodies within were naturally proficient in these two laws. There was no need to even bother with the others. There's a class tomorrow night. Speaking about gold origin laws. On top of that, it's an emperor-level undying speaking, I'll have to go listen. Following which, Luo Feng jumped out from the balcony of his study. With a flash in mid-air, he came to his private training quarters and began his training. One had to bathe in the nutrition cabin for 3 months. During this time, when Luo Feng wasn't in his training grounds studying and comprehending his study of the Primal Chaos tablet, and the experiences before, he was listening to classes. However, honestly, even though other absolute beginning members regarded the classes as pretty important, Luo Feng discovered one thing after attending. The effects of the classes didn't compare to his own teacher Tru Yang's lessons. Studying under Tru Yang for 20 years, even though there were several classes that would make his eyes gleam occasionally, the effects were average. There was no helping it. Public classes were for all of the absolute beginning members. And Tru Yang's pointers were catered specifically for him. He was given information specifically according to his progress and condition. And Tru Yang was a being close to becoming a universe country leader. Naturally the effects were much better than normal classes. My improvement speed is obviously much slower than Primal Chaos City. Luo Feng sat in a chair in his villa. He lifted a good glass of wine and frowned. And these classes obviously aren't better than my own teacher, what do I do? It wasn't just Luo Feng. The others were also discovering this problem. The training speed right now paled in comparison to Primal Chaos City. After all, the visible origin laws within the city allowed one to study them and improve faster. Luo Feng, your teacher has requested a call. On his shoulder, Barbata shouted. Teacher. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Standing straight up and respectfully speaking, except. A screen floated before his eyes. On it an intrepid and powerful Truyang Emperor appeared. That golden fur added to his powerful aura. Truyang laughed loudly and said, My good disciple, how are you feeling after leaving Primal Chaos City for a while? My studying speed has slowed. Luo Feng shook his head. Ha ha. Truyang laughed even more happily. That's normal, Primal Chaos City has the 3 treasures. Hence, one's studying efficiency is 10 times faster than outside. Everyone who leaves Primal Chaos City will encounter this problem. However, your teacher has a way to solve it. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Please speak, teacher. If you are able to frequently study the 9 Universe Tablet, your improvement speed will be even faster than in Primal Chaos City itself. Truyang Emperor said. But of course. Luo Feng said, after which he shook his head helplessly. It's a pity, it's hard to even get one chance to study the tablet, and every time the study only lasts 7 days. Even so, the rewards gained from these chances are very high. If I'm able to frequent study it, even if I'm not in Primal Chaos City, my improvement will be shocking. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Don't tell me that teacher has a way for me to study the tablet. No, the 52 Primal Chaos tablets are only available here in Primal Chaos City. Truyang said. Then what teacher means is? Luo Feng was curious. In the Virtual Universe Company's Treasure Trove Manuals department, there's a book called The Time-Space Scribbles. Truyang continued, this book was written by the creator of the 9 Universe Tablet. Are you referring to one of the top 100 most heavily priced books, Time-Space Scribbles? Luo Feng stared. He had looked through the treasure trove and towards the end of the list for the manuals, there were terrifyingly priced manuals. Time-Space Scribbles, the set required a total 100 billion points. A number so high Luo Feng could only stare wide-eyed at the absurdly priced books. Luo Feng didn't even bother to look at them, 100 billion points. Ha ha, don't get excited. This Time-Space Scribbles is something even your teacher cannot afford. Truyang smiled. Passing the first level of the Heavenly Bridge was 100 points, the second level yielded 200, the third was 400, it compounded as it grew. After passing the 21st level, one could become a universe country leader. At the same time, they will also gain 100 million points in reward. Don't even mention Truyang Emperor not being able to afford it, even those universe country leaders would have to go out on a limb to buy it. 100 billion was simply too huge a sum, enough to make even a universe country leader tremble. Much less the little Luo Feng, he could only stare wide-eyed. Ha ha, shocked. Truyang laughed on the screen. Teacher, what's the point of telling me about the Time-Space Scribbles? I can't afford it at all. Luo Feng muttered. Even if it's written by the creator of 9 Universe Tablet, I can't afford it. Passing the 21st level of the Heavenly Bridge could lead to one becoming a universe country leader. That level of being, carving out the 9 Universe Primal Chaos Tablet that actually allowed one to train up to level 27, the Time-Space Scribbles deserves to be sold at such a price. That absolute being was definitely one that stood at the absolute pinnacle of humanity itself, a powerful warrior that dominated over status and rank. If one said that the 9 Universe was deep and profound, and is able to entice and help many with comprehension, Truyang said, then this Time-Space Scribbles itself has recorded thousands to tens of thousands of techniques. Thousands to tens of thousands of techniques. Luo Feng starred. Truyang nodded. Right, back then the being that created the 9 Universe Tablet put his main ideas about the path he took into the 9 pictures. These 9 pictures naturally enticed people in its path to comprehension. Also, while this being was creating the 9 pictures, according to the 9 pictures, he struggled quite hard in his comprehension, and during which he recorded all the techniques he thought of in that process. These techniques that resonate with the 9 pictures, there's a total of 10,829 techniques. 10,829 techniques. Luo Feng blinked hard. A true absolute being could create so many techniques from just those 9 pictures. These techniques are extremely scattered. Truyang Emperor said. Hence the name Scribbles, this was mainly due to it being random writings, or pictures. Some are extremely profound and some not, some of them even very random and scattered. When the later generations studied the Time-Space Scribbles, They couldn't even find all 10,829 techniques within. Since they couldn't find them all, how did they know there were so many? Luo Feng asked curiously. The creator himself wrote it in the first page. Tru Yang laughed. Even though they couldn't find everything, but they still discovered tens of thousands. This entire set has 9 books. 9 books. Luo Feng thought about it. The 9 Universe tablet had a total of 9 pictures too. The scribbles were originally written according to the 9 pictures. The first book is in accordance with the first picture, the second with the second picture, 9th with 9th. Tru Yang smiled. Listening to his teacher say so, Luo Feng thought about it and used his finger to point at another screen on the side. He swiftly opened the manuals in the treasure trove and quickly found the exorbitantly priced time-space scribbles. Even the author's name was anonymous. Luo Feng opened it to examine it. Time-space scribbles, first book 1,000 points. Time-space scribbles, first 2 books 10,000 points. Time-space scribbles, first 3 books 100,000 points. Time-space scribbles, first 7 books 1 billion points. Time-space scribbles, first 8 books 10 billion points. Time-space scribbles, entire set 100 billion points. And this time-space scribbles didn't come with a discount. It's really exactly as I thought. Luo Feng laughed loudly. These expensive books really sell separately too. Ah, like what you thought. On the screen Tru Yang laughed. Luo Feng laughed too. Back when he was on Earth, the normal fighter's 9-level Thunder Blade was sold separately too. However, the price is still very expensive. Luo Feng frowned. The price is expensive. Tru Yang nodded. The moment you choose to buy it, then later on you'll have to work hard to earn back the points. The first 7 books reflect the first 7 pictures of the 9 Universe tablet. Comprehending them all would allow one to reach Universe Country Leader level. However, even after passing the 21st level of the bridge, one would barely have a little over 100 million points, and just the first 7 books require 1 billion points. Those who bought these the 1st of July books were normally not Universe Country Leaders. Luo Feng, this is definitely considered an extremely expensive book. The Floating Blood you bought was only 800 points, and they resonate with the 1st of March pictures. This book, however, just the 1st of March require 100,000 points. And it gets worse later on. However, they are definitely the best training option in training and studying the 9 Universe tablet, as large amounts of techniques are stored within. By studying these techniques, the effects may be even better than directly studying the 9 Universe tablet. On the screen Tru Yang Emperor smiled happily as he looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, my good disciple, it's your choice whether to buy it or not. Buy, definitely. Luo Feng didn't even hesitate. Ah? Tru Yang's golden eyebrows creased. Anyway, I have points now. Luo Feng smiled. I can afford it now, as for later on whether I can afford it or not, that's a problem for the future. His eyes gleamed. Teacher, since you said that its effects are comparable and maybe better than actually studying the 9 Universe tablet itself, no matter how many points it requires, I still have to buy it. The points are nothing but little playthings, the comprehension of the laws, that's the true mark of becoming a strong warrior. Finishing up, Luo Feng didn't even hesitate. He immediately bought the first 2 books. Exchange successful. Deducting 10,000 points, remainder 20,360 points. Please wait, someone will send the manual over immediately. On the screen a notice popped out. Teacher, I've already bought it. Luo Feng looked at the other screen, in which Tru Yang was in. Tru Yang smiled. With this time-space scribbles, your study of the 9 Universe tablet will speed up a lot. If you have any questions, bear with it for 3 months, and if after 3 months you still haven't understood it, come ask me. Yes. Luo Feng nodded. Also, let me advise you on one more thing. Tru Yang smiled in the screen. There's no need to waste time studying in Yuseong Mountain that much. It is important to study and comprehend the laws. However, you can totally go take on a mission. Exploring and doing missions in reality, training in reality, and studying the laws simultaneously, these two shouldn't be delayed, the efficiency of the two together will rise greatly. Luo Feng thought and nodded, understood teacher. Primal Chaos City. Within that ancient mansion, Tru Yang Emperor smiled and nodded. Luo Feng, this punk, he is indeed straightforward. Luo Feng quickly received the 2 books that he ordered, they were both stored in a silver briefcase. In his study, Luo Feng opened the briefcase, shocked, 2 books. The time-space scribbles, one had to know that when he purchased the Floating Blood before, all 110 books almost just filled up the entire briefcase. However, these 2 books alone took up half of the entire briefcase. These 2 books, accurately speaking, were made of metal, even the pages were gold in color. The first book was 50 centimeters long, 40 centimeters thick and 40 centimeters tall. The second book was 50 centimeters long, 40 centimeters thick and 30 centimeters tall. Damn, how can one even call these two books? They are even larger than my laptop bag. They are almost like a huge bag itself. Luo Feng was speechless. No wonder the two books alone took up half of the entire briefcase. He looked down to look at the covers. On it were the simple universe language words, time-space scribbles. Simple words, yet they held within them the universe space itself. With a glance, he felt himself getting drawn into the words themselves, almost as though he was staring at stars exploding, galaxies evolving, etc. After a second, Luo Feng awoke with a shock. Unbelievable. Luo Feng started. These two books sent over by the virtual universe system, they aren't even the original copies, and they can actually entice my consciousness already. The being that wrote time-space scribbles is too terrifying. Luo Feng quickly opened the metal cover. This first book was 40 centimeters thick. However, it had 1,000s of pages. Even though they were metal pages, they were still thin and soft. There's a total of 9 books for the entire manual, casually writing and creating a total of 10,829 techniques. If one can find all 10,829 techniques within, at least, you'll be able to become a universe country leader, haha. These simple words were on the first page. Strangely enough, it seemed like a voice of a brash and confident person resounded within Luo Feng's ears. Hypnotism. Luo Feng was suspicious, flipping to the second page. On the second page, there were simple strokes. However, these strokes, in Luo Feng's eyes, seemed to resonate with simple yet fierce blade work and strokes. Elegant. Powerful. Luo Feng couldn't help but compliment. The raindrop picture has but 9 simple wonders, and is able to create such simple yet powerful blade techniques. Luo Feng, who had long comprehended the first raindrop picture, could swiftly see through these seemingly messy strokes and scribbles. He was able to clearly feel the circumstance behind each stroke, clearly seeing the techniques. And as he had already comprehended the raindrop pictures, he was immediately able to learn the technique. Luo Feng flipped to the third page. On this page, a simple leaf was there. On it were simple brush strokes that formed the veins. In Luo Feng's eyes, however, he saw 9 spirit weapons in mid-air forming one body, descending from above, surrounding and killing an enemy. Simple, fierce offense. Using 8 weapons to affect the space, surrounding the enemy and killing him directly. Luo Feng was completely shocked. This is much stronger than the 9-thread loop I created. When I unleash the totem pillar, I can only rely on the Nanshan armament to get stronger. His own technique, the 9-thread loop, obviously paled in comparison to the random techniques this absolute being had scribbled. It's wonderful. Luo Feng flipped to the 4th page, his eyes gleaming. Metal pages of the book were flipped constantly. Every one of them held within different offensive attacks, all using the wonders of the raindrop picture. The simple raindrop picture, the absolute being had created wonderful and powerful techniques according to that one picture. Be it close combat, or a controller's distant attacks, or hypnotism, or spirit attacks. Many different techniques were all at his disposal. As Luo Feng had fully comprehended the raindrop picture, just from simply looking at these techniques, he almost instantly comprehended all of them. It's unbelievable. Vicious. Powerful. Luo Feng was like a starving beast flipping through page after page. He had never thought of such ways to unleash such techniques. It was simply like a heavenly horse flying. He couldn't even imagine the mindset of that being. Also, the techniques were all exciting and absolute, yet they all still relied on the foundation of the raindrop picture. These techniques were also a way to use the origin laws. That absolute being casually wrote 1,000s of ways to use the raindrop picture. 3 days later. Worth it, worth it. When Luo Feng finished flipping through the last page of the first book, he couldn't help but shout out excitedly. Finishing the first book. There were 3,219 techniques in that first book, and Luo Feng had fully grasped them all. This was only 1,000 points. Even if I had to buy it with 30,000 points, it'd still be worth it. Luo Feng closed this book. He was excited, as in his mind the many techniques floated within. Right, that being had opened a window that wasn't there before for him. It wasn't just his comprehension of the 9-universe tablet that leveled up, it also spurred many new ideas on how to battle, and increased the amount of knowledge to a whole new level about many other things. The techniques can actually be used this way. That great being, how did he even come up with so many techniques, just from one raindrop picture? Luo Feng placed the first book of time-space scribbles to one side and picked up the second book. Opening the thick metal book, he once again jumped right into reading it. Time Space Scribbles' second book. It reflected the 9 Universe Tablets' second drizzle picture. In terms of deepness, this one was obviously more profound than the first one by hundreds to thousands of times. As Luo Feng had only comprehended just a bit of the second picture, the techniques revealed within the many pages of this book felt extremely mysterious to him. These techniques were built from the drizzle picture, and it held within it bits and pieces of the drizzle picture. Some more so than others, some even incorporating the entire picture. So it's this way. So that's it. Luo Feng was completely immersed with reading this thick second book. The first book's 3,219 techniques, Luo Feng took a total of 3 days to learn all of them. However, of the second book's 2,102 techniques, 283 of them felt profound and incomprehensible to him. As for the other 19, he barely managed to forcefully comprehend them. As he drilled these into his mind, the drizzle picture of the 9 Universe Tablets slowly became clearer to him. Many factories could disassemble machines, and according to the way the deconstruction took place, one could later learn and figure out how to rebuild it. One theory. Why were these techniques so valuable? It was because each technique could grow and get more and more profound, eventually pointing towards the depths of the origin laws. Studying these techniques was actually beneficial to comprehend the laws. This was also why, in the universe, many people would risk everything to obtain valuable techniques. After all, the ones who could truly view the primal chaos tablets were extremely few and privileged. Normal warriors would never even get a chance to see the 52 tablets. Luo Feng took a deep breath and put down the thick book in his hands. Good book. It really is a good book. Luo Feng looked at the cover of the book. The words Time Space Scribbles alone could make one feel the evolution, the change of stars in space among other phenomenon. If only they were a bit cheaper. The third book is going to cost 100,000 points. Where will I get so many points? The points were extremely hard to acquire. Barbata, how long have I been studying? Luo Feng placed the heavy book back into the shelf behind him, asking. The first book, you took 3 days. As for the second book, you've been reading it for 29 days. The little demon on his shoulder said. 29 days. Luo Feng nodded, after which he shook his head and laughed. For the first book's 3,219 techniques, I took only 3 days to complete. But this second book's 19 techniques alone took me 29 days, and I still haven't even fully grasped them yet. How's the effect? Barbata asked. It's still okay. Luo Feng smiled. I've comprehended the 10th and 11th wonder. Damn. Barbata's eyes were almost popping out. Luo Feng, you are too shameless. This is called still okay. The raindrop picture held within 9 wonders. The drizzle picture had 27 more profound wonders within. The rainstorm picture held the final 72 most profound wonders. A total of 108 wonders, these were the foundation of the space origin laws. I guess I'm also digesting everything I've learned from the past now. Luo Feng said. In Primal Chaos City, there were many fragments and pieces that I understood somewhat, but not fully comprehended. And now while diving into these techniques, many things that I was just about to fully understand resonate with each other, allowing me to continuously study 2 wonders. The Floating Blood's 108 techniques, I know 11 of them. Of course, the previous knowledge that I had, through the time-space scribbles, has allowed me to have great benefits. However, as it goes further, it won't be that easy. The first time looking at time-space scribbles had the greatest enlightenment. As one tried to comprehend more, it will only become harder. Unless he managed to go study the Primal Chaos tablet again, however that was in Primal Chaos City. Moreover, a chance to go back in was extremely valuable. Luo Feng suddenly stared, fiercely standing up and shouting. I've been studying time-space scribbles these past 32 days. That means I haven't attended any classes at all these past 32 days. Damn, even the ones I liked I didn't attend. There were many classes in the absolute beginning region, however they were all optional. Luo Feng didn't care that much about the normal ones who gave lectures about space and techniques. Those undyings didn't teach as well as his teacher did. However, the ones explaining the gold origin laws and space and gold fusion, these were the ones Luo Feng emphasized on. As his teacher, Truyang Emperor, was proficient in space, even though he had some comprehension of the gold origin laws, it couldn't compare to those undyings who specialized in it. What's the use of regretting? The little demon laughed. Here's some good news, your favorite space and gold fusion class is on tonight. Ah, then I'll attend tonight. Luo Feng nodded. However, I should go try out first to see just how much my strength has improved by. Luo Feng jumped out of the balcony from his study, leaving behind images as he arrived at his training grounds entrance. Within the training grounds, the ground was shiny. Simulate Horned Dragon City. Luo Feng ordered. With Barbata's help, the place immediately morphed into a large portion of a huge city. The city was empty. In a 9-story normal building's balcony, Luo Feng carried the dark golden long rod on his back and shouted, "Rise." Immediately from behind the long rod shot out little golden blades that covered the skies and land. The blurry images of these 1,600 blades were like little spirits dancing and swiftly flying about. In mid-air they swiftly began to extend golden threads infused with origin laws, and in the blink of an eye, they formed a golden totem pillar. Go. Luo Feng pointed ahead at a bank skyscraper. Rumble. The totem pillar rolled and the space around it compressed. Its movement was almost like teleporting. Within an instant it crossed several kilometers, and immediately smashed into that skyscraper. The entire building shook from the impact, and was reduced to dust. Simultaneously, the entire ground below the building also shook and the impact rippled in all directions, causing a large wave throughout. Later, several kilometers around the epicenter were all reduced to nothing but dust. My strength control is still not precise. Luo Feng stood in mid-air, surveying the buildings that were reduced to dust below. Frowning, I want to control my attack and condense it into one line, however it still rippled along the ground. However, according to the time-space scribbles over 3,000 techniques that I've slightly tweaked and combined with my comprehension of the 10th and 11th wonder, the power of my totem pillar is obviously much stronger. Luo Feng pointed far away, go. Rumble. The totem pillar was like a god punishing the land, crashing here and there. The moment it hit, that entire area would be reduced to dust. It may seem heavy, but it's light to control. I finally have this feeling. Luo Feng was very satisfied. Studying time-space scribbles was indeed a huge benefit. It actually made his Nanshan armament's 4th level so much stronger. Then what about the 5th? I'll give it a shot. With a thought, the totem pillar first separated into countless gold lights, returning to the golden long rod on his back. Rise. Luo Feng roared and his eyes focused. Immediately tens of thousands of little golden lights flew in all directions from his back. It was almost like a sun glaring in all directions. Countless golden lights immediately followed a path and gathered, immediately forming 36 1-kai long golden blades. The next thing to do was to combine all of these 36 blades into one dark golden long blade. Nanshan armament 5th level, every blade was made of 81 little blades. When these 36 were added together, it would form a total of 2,916 little golden blades. Luo Feng took a deep breath and watched the floating 36 blades, roaring, combine. Immediately the 36 blades combined together. Every one of them followed the complex golden engravings, and shot out tens of thousands of golden thread. Every thread represented Luo Feng's comprehension of the space and gold origin laws. Also, while controlling so many blades individually, Luo Feng's consciousness was like a quantum computer managing everything. Succeed, combine together. Luo Feng's forehead was filled with perspiration. The blur of golden threads interweaved and formed between the 36 golden blades, finally forming a 3M long golden blade shape. However, there were still regions on that blade itself where it was shaking and unstable as the gold threads floated about and unable to fully combine. Combine together. Luo Feng's face was flushed red. His consciousness and spirit energy was stretched to the limit, as they were controlling everything. However, the repulsion of those spots was strong. The dark long golden blade violently shook and dispersed. Luo Feng sighed. Shaking his head, he immediately dispersed the 2,916 blurs of little golden blade lights, and they returned to the dark golden long rod. If my spirit energy is domain lord level, then I can rely on it to force the combination. Luo Feng thought. If my comprehension of the gold origin laws was deeper, I would then be able to form it too. At the final point, him wanting to control the golden threads to combine perfectly, there were multiple spots that were unsuccessful. This was mainly due to his comprehension not being deep enough. Nanshan armament was a spirit weapon that was created from the fusion of space and gold origin laws. It was one of the 9 godly weapons. Gold, wood, water, fire, ground, wind, light and thunder, these 8 were much easier to comprehend than space and time. Hence during the formation of the Nanshan armament, it emphasized more on the gold laws, and its requirement of the space laws was slightly lower. My space origin law comprehension is enough for the 5th level. However, my gold origin law comprehension isn't enough. Luo Feng laughed helplessly. Gold laws, in this aspect, Luo Feng's study speed wasn't slow at all. Space laws, with the 9 universe tablet, floating blood and time-space scribbles, along with Tru Yang's instructions and the space pet Mosha clan studying, his studying speed was close to the gold origin law speed. However, in theory, the speed of his gold origin law study should far exceed the space study speed. After all, I did not have a teacher who specializes in gold to teach me. Luo Feng thought. Also, I haven't studied any gold origin law techniques. From what I see, it's time for the golden horned beast to pick a technique. That way, I can raise my improvement speed of the gold laws. Inherited memories, the techniques within these memories were as vast as the ocean. My golden horned beast, which technique should I choose? There were many battle techniques within the golden horned beast's inherited memories. When Luo Feng and Barbata were analyzing which was most suitable, it only took a while before the night class was about to begin. Absolute beginning region Villa 1136, a silhouette rushed into the sky. This public class speaks about gold and space fusion, it's not bad. Luo Feng swiftly left the villa and headed towards the distant large skyscraper that could almost be deemed a large artwork. At this time, a line of silhouettes were flying towards it and entering. The entire building took up a few hundred kilometers in area. If placed on Earth, it would be an unbelievable construct. Classroom number 2, the size of this room was 80 kilometers long and 60 kilometers wide. Scattered around the back of the room were 1,000 seats, the rest of the space was for the undying teacher to sit cross-legged. Luo Feng. Yiku. Luo Feng smiled and waved at a skinny youth in scaled armor. This youth was bald and had bronze skin. He emitted a powerful fierce aura. He was one of the few friends Luo Feng had in the absolute beginning region. Following which Luo Feng sat beside that youth. I haven't seen you this past month. Yiku smiled. Usually during these gold space fusion and gold classes you'd attend. There's been close to 10 classes this month already, and I haven't seen you around at all. I even sent you calls, but it was cut off. I was studying some techniques. I got immersed and forgot to attend. Luo Feng laughed. Yiku, Domain Lord level, absolute beginning member. As he would attend every gold class, along with the gold and space fusion classes, Luo Feng had met him numerous times and became friends. Immersed in it? Yiku blinked. I guess your rewards aren't small then. Luo Feng nodded. Congrats, ha. Yiku laughed loudly, following which he said softly, however my brother, I estimate my own rewards too aren't small. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. You know, I control quite a bit of authority now. Occasionally, I would meet some unexpected surprises. Yiku's eyes had a sense of anticipation within. I hope this time around, I will succeed. The moment I do. Good for you, you have such authority outside. However, we are still stuck training within. Luo Feng shook his head. Virtual Universe Company, their nurture for the core members had different levels. The top 1,000 of the Genius Battles were immediately sent to train in Primal Chaos City for 30 years to lock in their foundation. Universe-level core members were to train in the Virtual Universe Company's 4 secret regions, safely listening to undying lessons, and to train and take on missions. Domain Lord level members would command bodyguard teams, going to a particular universe country to control the territory. According to Luo Feng, that would be akin to going to the border and acting as a governor. This was truly the beginning of interactions with affairs of the universe. It was considered leaving the safety of the Virtual Universe Company, as everything was to be decided on one's own. Sector Lord members were placed in even more dangerous situations. They were going to explore the universe itself, and were even sent to the terrifying external battlefield where the strong were like minced meat sometimes. They were also sent to the even more dangerous universe secret regions. Value your chance. Yiku sighed. Luo Feng, you are currently still universe level. You can safely stay under the protection of the Virtual Universe Company to train and take missions within a controlled area. When you reach Domain Lord level and get placed in a universe country, controlling a large territory, that's when your true grueling training begins. That's truly dangerous. Especially at Sector Lord level, where you are not even allowed to bring your guard team, you'll go through many life and death situations then. Luo Feng nodded. Universe level was considered a child that required nurturing. Domain Lord was considered youths, who were able to explore outside. Sector Lords were considered adults, who were beginning their life or death struggles. If successful, they would reach the undying level. It was a pity that the efficiency rate was very, very low. Within Classroom 2, more absolute beginning members entered, there were already more than 100. While Luo Feng and Yiku sat together and chatted, another golden-bearded dwarf walked over, smiling. Yiku, this person beside you should be Luo Feng, right? Xie Ji Wu. Yiku glanced at him. The dwarf smiled at Luo Feng. How do you do? I'm Xie Ji Wu, similar to Yiku. I am in the Domain Lord level. I have heard of you before and I've always wanted to meet you. However, there hadn't been a chance until now. How do you do? Luo Feng smiled and waved. Luo Feng, Zag with this punk is crafty, but is still not bad. I've known him for over 1,000 years. Yi Ku introduced. Luo Feng. Zag Wu rubbed his golden beard. Sitting beside them, he said softly, I heard that during your first time in Primal Chaos City, you passed 5 levels of the Heavenly Bridge in 30 years. Right? Luo Feng nodded. Powerful indeed, respect. Zag Wu nodded. Zg Wu, speak what's on your mind. Yi Ku frowned. Zg Wu said softly, Luo Feng, I want to discuss something with you. Luo Feng frowned. I want to exchange for some things in the virtual universe treasure trove. However, I don't have enough points. Zag Wu shook his head. I hope, Luo Feng, you can help me exchange for them. And when that happens, I'll use cash to buy them from you. Depending on how many points you use, I'm willing to exchange 1 mixed element for every 5 points spent. If you use 1,000 points, I'll give you 200 mixed elements. Zg Wu said, you should know, this is a good deal. Luo Feng was shocked. Every 5 points he spent, he would receive 1 mixed element. This price was not bad. According to the prices of the treasures within the trove, from what Luo Feng calculated, about 7 to 8 points equated to 1 mixed element. Go away. Yi Ku pushed Zag Wu away. Get away, you bastard, actually trying to swindle my friend. It's not considered swindling. He passed 5 levels, with the 10 times reward, that's 31k points, and he has no need for them now. Also, the price I offered him is quite high. Zag Wu said. Yi Ku frowned and said, all right, with your little calculations, you think I wouldn't know. I will not stop you. But, I will speak directly to Luo Feng about this and explain certain things to him. If he then still wishes to deal with you, I won't bother with your deals anymore. What's going on? Luo Feng was curious. Speak. Zag Wu seemed unhappy, almost like a gangster. Luo Feng. Yi Ku said softly, right now when you exchange for items you'll discover 1 mixed element equates to about 7 or 8 points, right? Luo Feng nodded. But let me tell you, the things within the treasure trove can only use points. Core members under the Undying level, they can only rely on the Heavenly Bridge, Fantasy Ocean, Undying Altar and taking on missions to acquire points. The points are extremely valuable. Yi Ku emphasized, of course, you still think, as long as you have money, you can buy these treasures in the real world, right? Luo Feng couldn't help but nod. Right? With enough money, he could buy any treasure within the auctions. You are wrong. Yi Ku shook his head. The auctions are separated into basic, mid and high level. Universe country auctions are all basic level and the lowest requirement is a 3-star client. The high-level auctions however require at least a 5-star client. Simply preparing for it requires many years. Hence it takes very very long before a high-level auction occurs. And within these auctions, you won't necessarily get what you want. However, the treasure trove is different. Everything you need is available there. A few high-level items are rarely seen even in the high-level auctions, because the 5 major powers do not wish to circulate these extremely rare items. Yi Ku said, however, all these items are usually available in the treasure trove. The further you get, the more obvious the importance of the treasure trove becomes. However, exchanging for items in the treasure trove relies solely on points. Yi Ku sighed, and the points are hard to acquire. Anyone under Undying level cannot use money to exchange for points. And after becoming Undying, only then can one use money to exchange for points. The rule for Undyings of the Virtual Universe Company is 1 mixed element for 1 point. Luo Feng was shocked. I've said what I needed to, you make your own choices. Yi Ku said. Yi Ku is right. Beside, the gold-bearded dwarf nodded. A few rare items can't be bought at all outside. Hence the points are extremely valuable. However, Luo Feng, you are currently only universe level, the things you need can be bought outside as well. You have no need to waste your points. If you help me buy them, I'll give you cash, 5 points for 1 mixed element. It's very worth it. Luo Feng laughed. Yi Ku watched as Zag Wu left unwillingly. Laughing, Luo Feng, I was worried you'd agree. I was never going to deal with him. Luo Feng smiled. What a joke. Simply buying the 3 books of the time-space scribbles required 100,000 points. He was still worrying about how to get points. Why would he help someone else buy things using his points? That's right, you are considered powerful. First time in Primal Chaos City and completing 5 levels, one has to know the 10x reward is only for the first time. Yi Ku shook his head. The 31,000 points you have with the initial 10,000 award. It may seem like points are easy to acquire, but you'll see later on. Luo Feng listened intently. Yiku was after all a domain lord. His accumulated experience was much more. I have an assisting metal life form Kale. Yiku shook his head. This life form can form armor, form weapons, and even fuse with a ship. It's an excellent helping hand. In order to nurture this Kale and make it evolve to domain lord was easy. However, to sector lord level, the materials required alone cost 86,000 points. I can only look at it and let my head ache. And after reaching sector lord level, the amount to be spent on Kale alone would get even more shocking. As for it to become an undying, I don't even dare to imagine the number of points required for the materials now. Luo Feng thought. Yiku had the metal life form. He himself had the plant life form cloud contact vine. Right now it was already domain lord level 2. Back when it was breaking through from universe level 9 to domain lord, it cost him 1 life fruit. Barbata, the cloud contact vine's breakthrough and evolution to sector lord, how many points do I have to spend? And the breakthrough to undying? Luo Feng asked. According to the process of how the Yunmo master nurtured his cloud contact vine from domain lord level 9 to sector lord, it requires many treasures and combinations. So, that would amount to about 120,000 points. As for sector lord level 9 to undying, this is the hardest breakthrough. Humans breaking through to undying is already unbelievable. To help the cloud contact vine, according to how much he spent back then, it would require about 6.2 million mixed elements, plus luck. After all, to actually break through the shackles of life itself to become undying, there's no 100% guarantee. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.